Hey, how's it going, guys? Unranked podcast is back. We got Grant here, and we also have
Elijah, welcome back. Took a brief hiatus. Just trying to stay in the grind of things.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, just want to get back in. Want to dive in deep, talk about one of the best performances I've seen in quite a while. Probably one of the best playoff performances I've ever seen. Just being honest, and that was Kevin Durant, KD last night. It was completely immaculate from beginning to end. He didn't come out 1 minute, 1 second. And I think, he just put together an overall, complete game. I believe it was 49, 17, and 10. They needed every last one of every statistic he got to pull it out. And I just think, it was an awesome performance. He was doing things that I hadn't seen him do in quite a while, as far as just directing people and taking more of a assertive control, demanding the ball and just kind of having the offense 100% flow through him versus, um, kind of his more laid back approach that he typically takes. So
yeah,
he's a different Kevin Durant, but he definitely showed what he was made of, and that he is cut from that ilk. That if his back is against the wall, he'll show up. So I think it was an awesome performance, I'm real excited to see what he can put together next, and what the Bucks try to put together to stop that.
yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I think this performance it kind of reminded me of like that game six, LeBron, Miami against Boston, just like takeover mode.
Yep.
Like you hit on the head. Like he kind of came in. I was first kind of concerned. I didn't know if like at first, I kind of thought KD might be running out of gas because like that game four, he just wasn't really hitting that many shots. I mean, obviously Kyrie got hurt, so like things just went like south real quick. But like, I don't know, he's kind of looked tired to me. But even like game five though, he kind of came out just like trying to get everybody else involved. He's kind of like passing up maybe like some easy looks for himself, and then like the switch just kind of like flipped to where he was like, all right, like it's just like game time. I don't think I think like after Jeff Green having like 24, like the next closest guy had like 5 or 6 points, maybe something like that. So like, this is probably one of the greatest performances I've ever witnessed. 49 points in 48 minutes. Not coming out the entire game. They literally needed him in there every second. Um, not just, I've never really seen KD rebound the ball like that before. Like you said, I mean, we've always seen him as like a scorer. Like I said, his nickname is Easy Money Sniper. It's like we've always kind of seen him as just like that guy, just come in there. He'll give you like 40, like 5 and 7, but like what I'm saying on a good night. But like that 49, 17, and 10, like I don't think I've ever seen KD with 10 assists before either. So he definitely kind of opened up the game. Opened up his repertoire, opened his bag up a little bit more when it was necessary to do so. So yeah, I think I mean, in my opinion, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they close it out Thursday. I mean, I think that took the wind out the Bucks' sail. Um, so that Giannis kind of just really kind of disappointed me. The last 2 3 minutes of that series or that game last night, excuse me. But all in all, the good basketball. That's all you can really ask for in the playoffs now. And KD definitely showed out.
You brought up the rebounds, and I would say he's definitely a more consistent rebounder than he is assist man.
Yep.
But so I would say I'm less shocked by the rebounds than I am the assists, because he's generally he has the ball so few that when he has it, he is, he's typically is scoring with it. So he's not a guy that because he doesn't need the ball or touch the ball that often, he's not facilitating that frequently. But I said just having the ball in his hands that much, he showed his playmaking ability. He showed, just some things that I was kind of excited about. There were some times where I seen where he was just yelling out at players to set picks, yelling out at players to do backdoor screens, for open easy bunnies. He was really being the quarterback of that whole thing, and
Yeah.
I was thoroughly impressed. And you brought up Giannis and all them. I think it's crazy that Giannis, being a two-time Defensive Player of the Year, didn't step up more. And I can't think of a possession really where he guarded him, especially zero down the stretch.
Yeah.
So even if maybe he did occasionally at the beginning, I can't think of any near down the stretch. So I know
Yeah.
that's just it makes me question, how it just makes me question things when I know this other type of players that would step up to the plate and want to guard him, and even if he is going to hit that shot, I'm going to make him do it over me versus somebody that I know is maybe less talented than I am. So I think, yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, so no, I definitely got a couple things on Giannis just from he's a great player. I don't ever want to be the one just like bashing and just like talking shit about people, but NBA players, obviously they do basketball very well at a very high level. But um, I don't know, what kind of just surprised me was like you hit it on the head there. Like I feel like at any level of sports, whether it's like you're a great player like high school, college, like if you're the best player on the team and the other player, the best player on the team, kind of going off like that, I feel like in some situation, like most situations, guys will kind of want to welcome that challenge, especially in this situation where you're two-time defensive player of the year, first time all defense. I don't see how, like, obviously PJ Tucker did a great job covering them, game 4, but how do you just sit back and kind of watch this guy just go ballistic like this? I mean, he literally had like 20 plus points, I'm pretty sure, in the second half. And I mean, the game is close, getting down to crunch time. Guys are, this lead is just like slowly dwindling away. When do you kind of step in and try to like stop the bleeding in a sense? So yeah, it was definitely kind of just like I couldn't really understand like why he didn't really step to the plate in that situation. Um, there's also like two different plays to where I was really like disappointed again. So it was he had Harden on him on the block, and like
Yeah,
it was 1-on-1. Harden's on one leg, and he settles for like a fadeaway jumper.
right.
I think it was like they were down by like 2. Game might have been tied, but it's like we watch you all game long run rim to rim. Do whatever you can to get to the rim. Guys are gonna follow you. Like you're Giannis, you know what I'm saying? So like you definitely got the respect of the league and the refs to where like you're gonna get those calls if you would be assertive and go to the rack. I think to settle for a fadeaway was kind of crazy. And then the game they were down 2, Middleton gave him a pass, ball just and this happens. I mean this happens, but he got the ball, had it between his legs, lost it. Went 1 for 2 at the free throw line, like all in that span of time. So it was. I just feel like it's kind of what Giannis starts to do when it gets tight in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Um, I think there was moments where there's moments where he's completely unstoppable when he gets the full head of steam and he goes to the basket, and then there's other moments where I think he's not that consistent of a jump shot shooter. But there was a couple. I believe he hit a couple of threes in this game. And I know he had one in particular, and I felt like those type of moments maybe it gives him like a false sense of hope that he can hit the jumpers later on and not goes back to what he's his bread and butter, which is just putting his head down and getting to the basket.
Yep.
And so I think he sometimes he maybe gets a false sense of hope when he hits that three, and he later I believe it was sometime in the third or fourth quarter he hits a three, trots down the court, throws up the three sign. So I think he gets a false sense of hope, and then later on in the game, it's easier to maybe try to hit that jumper than it is to be at the free throw line with the uh, much more time to think and the struggles at the line. So it's kind of it's an interesting parallel because he is a great player, and I think if he can step up to the plate and guard KD, obviously that would take away some of KD's offensive effectiveness, but at the same time that would take away what Giannis can do on the offensive end. He won't be able to go as full steam. So I think that might be the trade off that they're trying to debate.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll also add I now see why KD got so frustrated when they tried to compare him to Giannis.
Yeah.
And as he showed last night, like, this is real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we different over here. But yeah, I mean I think you said it too, like just, trying to hit the threes. I think I've said on here before, like, I mean, I think at this point, obviously the 3-point, that's not going to be your strength at all anytime soon. You might as well put on another 20, 25 pounds and be like Orlando Shaq.
Yeah.
Just rim runner, average 32, 14, 15 in his prime. Like, just really, like, just call up the dream, work on your post moves. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
really kind of turn himself into like like a 5'4". It was like 6'11". That I mean like a 7'7" wingspan. Like he might as well pack on a little bit more weight, just get down there on the block.
Yeah.
And
No, it would be. it would be beneficial for him to learn a few, just the post moves. He would be that much more unstoppable. He
Yeah,
would, he probably would have, I mean, that's not going to take away the fact that he's shy away from going to the free throw line. But if you can get a couple moves down there, that's going to save you a lot of the BS shots that you have to throw up.
yeah,
So no, I agree, and this series had been rocked by injuries. It looked, earlier a week ago, it was all good just a week ago with the Nets, where it looked like they were completely rolling. Maybe you're going to sweep them. So it took an awesome performance from KD to kind of get that momentum back towards them. But they were riddled by injuries, and that's kind of the theme throughout the league.
yeah,
Lots of teams are riddled with injuries, whether it was the Lakers, who we ultimately end up seeing go down a week ago. With the Nets are currently struggling with them. There's just injuries throughout the league. COVID protocol, so it's kind of having a big wave throughout the league, and it's kind of the dynamic that it's causing is kind of it's interesting to sit back and see how it will affect what champion we're ultimately going to see come out of this.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely, man. It's been great basketball still, just because I mean it's the NBA playoffs, so like guys just coming in to play day in day out. These are professionals, so they pretty much ready to when their number's called. Most of the time they show up to the party. But yeah, I mean it's tough. Like they're you had like teams. I mean even teams like the Nuggets. I mean they played so well, but they didn't even have Jamal Murray. So
Yeah,
like that Sun series would have been a completely different ball game. I couldn't really can't really see Chris Paul chasing around Jamal Murray, staying in front of him. It definitely wouldn't have went four. Or it would have went longer than four. Kawhi Leonard, I'm seeing that he might have tore his ACL, so he's gonna be out for the rest of this series. That's huge. I mean, that's Utah. I think the Clippers. I mean, they're kind of used to playing without him anyways, just because like he'd be doing a lot of load management, like not really playing a ton of games in the regular season. But like, I mean, I that he's like the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like Paul George can be pretty inconsistent at times. They got some solid guys. I think they got a lot of guys that are pretty streaky. Like Marcus Morris will give you 20 one night, and then he'll turn around and give you four.
right.
You got guys like Reggie Jackson. Maybe they'll be able to kind of pick up the slack, but yeah, I mean, then people don't even probably forgot because Donovan Mitchell's playing. So well, Mike Conley, he ain't played. He played 1-2 games in the Memphis series.
Yeah,
And that's like huge to their to their offense and how they kind of do things. Now Mitchell got to be on the ball more, not really a pure point guard, so he's kind of out there just like
yeah,
just
yeah. Trying
doing
to have
trying to score. He's just trying to score 40. He's just doing his part in that side of things. Um, but yeah, I mean it's definitely put a damper on things. You got the Chris Paul. I heard that it's a 10-day quarantine unless he can get like two negative COVID shots back to back, and then pass like that's like some cardiac test. So I say back to back, it's like 2 days in a row. So there's a chance, if this Utah series goes seven, I think it's supposed to start as early as Sunday. But if it goes seven somehow, like might be able to kind of work it out to where he'd be available for that game one. But it's just KD goes off last night, and you wake up to all these other injuries and whatnot. It's just kind of crazy to see how those things are kind of unfolding right now.
It is. It is. And so I'm trying to go down the line with what you said. And I think, starting with Kawhi's injury, I think they can't recover from that. I just think it's going to be too big of uphill battle.
Yep.
He had one of the better games while we were off. He had one of the better games that I've seen him have in quite a while that I've witnessed. They put together a very solid win. He had a 40-point performance. So I think it's going to be very hard for them to kind of rebound off of that. And you brought up load management, and I don't completely agree with the load management, but the only reason they do that is so those players are available during the playoffs. All of that is, yeah, it's all contingent on them being healthy for the latter part of a championship run. And
Hmm.
so when they're still robbed of injury, it's kind of all that for nothing. And if he really did tear his ACL, this kind of it's kind of a big, it's I was kind of fucked up that he'll be out for a whole year. We won't
Right.
be
He'll be
seeing him
out. Won't be out
all
till
next
like
season.
April.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's probably May, June. He's gonna
Yeah.
definitely miss a good
If
part
they
of
make
next
the
year.
playoffs, they might try to bring him back next year.
Right.
But if they're not even in the playoff contention, we might not even see them.
Right.
Just bring them back for the 2023 season,
Been for a couple
2023.
years.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
So
out of there. Wow. Yeah, that's
so
the
that's
thing.
kind of when you think about it from that point of view, it's real messed up that we get robbed of seeing him try to put together this and then all of next year, and that kind of has a whole new layout for the West and what that even looked like.
Yeah.
So I just that's messed up. Jamal Murray, I kind of he's been hurt for so long. I kind of forgot that was a thing. I was kind of watching used to them going out there with the boys they had. So it's kind of crazy. I completely forgot that. I forgot that injury happened. So when
Yeah.
you about taking an all-star away from him, from that squad, one of the biggest stars from last year's bubble,
They probably
last
been
year,
in conference finals.
yep, and dropping 40, 50 a night.
Yeah.
And so when you think about what he could have done, what impact he could have had, it would have been, major.
Fall for
Yeah.
the 2 seed, maybe the 1 seed. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Utah is pretty far out there. 1 seed was pretty much locked up like early April, but yeah, I mean, it kind of just comes down to like just guys aren't available.
Yep. So and it's having a real effect. The NBA pushing the way they did through
Yep.
everything. It's having these players getting hurt now for long term purposes, as far as Kawhi potentially being out for all next year, and earlier last week, I was sitting around looking at Olympics, and we don't even have an Olympic team put together because people are still just figuring out just season just ending or don't want to play
Yeah.
more and then be not ready to go for the season.
That's like what, 6 weeks, right?
Yeah,
Something
yep,
like
yep,
that, close to a month, I think.
yeah. You'll go from like mid July to like late mid August.
Hmm.
Yeah, yep. So I
Yeah.
think it's just kind of having ripple effects on things that that you would normally think of.
Yeah.
So
And I think, yeah, and I think a couple things too is like, I know they was trying to have a game, had a season start on like MLK Day,
yeah,
instead of Christmas, but like, I mean, they're talking about all the TV money they was gonna lose. They was gonna lose out on like 50 million in TV money or something like that if they didn't have they started the NBA on around Christmas, and then they're supposed to like not have an All Star game, and they turned around and decided to have an All Star game. So it's like, I mean, these injuries, like, like ACL, that's kind of like it happens, like, but it's still, I mean, I feel like your body is still like, when you just tired and just sore, like your body just gonna start to like give on you, you playing, they playing back to backs, playing every other night, literally 72 games from December 22nd until like, mid May. That's a lot of basketball in a short period of time, and also they just want to make sure the new season starts on time. It's kind of tough. We're gonna mess around and go across the pond and not even place that basketball team at this rate, because guys, they probably just don't want to play. Like, they just want to be able to chill and just rest and get their bodies back right.
only two people I've heard that are confirmed so far is Draymond and Tatum.
Dame, yep.
Yeah, and Dame. So
That's yeah,
uh, yeah, I mean, so I don't know. It is it's them just pushing forward, trying to get that money. It is a for-profit business, so
yep,
they don't really care.
yeah,
But I think they're eventually going to realize that it's hard to watch games when they're blowouts. It's hard to watch. It's nothing more demoralizing than you're excited for a game and then you show up, put the game on, and then right off rip it's ass whooping. Like
yeah,
that's just it. Kind of it sucks as a fan. It sucks as a
yeah.
just NBA in general. So I think they're going to realize that a lot of people are turning the games off because they don't want to watch that.
Right.
And
That's the main reason why.
they come for the stars.
Right. That's the main reason why I hit you up to start the podcast, because I'm like, Atlanta already down 20.
It's done.
So yeah. No, it's tough, man. I will say, at least the players, they got the fully guaranteed contracts. They was able to work that out. NFL, you'll never see a guy get a guaranteed contract. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it comes down to just money. They trying to just make up for what they lost, how much they had to spend on the bubble, like all that. So, but yeah, hopefully some of these guys are able to get healthy, kind of find their way back onto the court. I definitely would love to see Chris Paul be there for that full series and not coming in like game 3 and they down 2-0 already or something like that. So yeah, all in due time.
Yep, yep. It's just it's good. It's good to see the fans back in the stadiums. It's good to get the atmosphere back, and we are starting to get some type of real feel for playoff basketball. So I am enjoying that, but it is hard, just to see us being robbed with some of the players. So I agree.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just real quick here, who do you like in the finals as of today?
Yeah, it's tough. I'm gonna say go ahead and say the Nets. I'm gonna say the Nets are gonna make it, and I'm gonna go Suns.
Okay,
I think even if Chris Paul misses a game or two, I think they could
it can happen.
the firepower. Yeah, he was at 60%, 40% for a game or two. And and they still found a way to make it work. So
Yep.
I think those two squads with KD pulling it and James Harden, he went out there and gave it what he had. But I think if he can pull it together, and just get more healthy, get his legs back, and even a 70% James Harden and what in a 80% of what we seen from KD yesterday, I think
Yeah.
they'll be fine.
Do you like? Do you? This probably might be a dumb question. Do you like try to get Harden to play next game, or is it kind of like see if we can kind of hold him off? He was out there. He wasn't very effective, but he was out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess I don't know. I don't think he needs to play like the 48 minutes a game again necessarily, but I think he's a big enough threat just kind of standing around the perimeter.
decoy.
Yeah, more than like Mike James. I feel like you
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
a bum leg. James Harden is probably going to keep more of a defensive eye than Mike James out there.
Yeah,
So, or
absolutely.
so I kind of think if that and just kind of, I wouldn't push it because I don't want him to get re-injured, especially if you can make a real run. But I kind of want to see him out there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think if he can contribute you know, like 5 minutes a quarter or something like that, like 20 minutes, just
I think he had like 6 and 5 or something. Like,
yeah. I think I saw he had three, 5 and 6 or something like that, like 5, 6 and 6, and he didn't make his first basket until like mid third. So he's really like he's struggling. He really hurting. That
yeah,
just
no,
shows
for
you
sure.
like how bad it is. And them hamstrings, I mean, them ain't nothing to play around with. So hopefully, he able to kind of just not have any major setback. They can at least like either close it out or they got to play a game 7.
I agree.
So
So I guess I'll pose the same question to you.
yeah,
Who you feeling as the
yeah.
favorites?
I'm I mean, I think it's tough for me for the East because like, I mean, looking at Philly, they look solid. Embiid knee, of course, he hurt.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of like it just like who can kind of get the healthiest, who can get this series over with the quickest, so they can get like 4 or 5 days
Yeah.
to just I think Philly gonna win tonight. They play Friday. You know, I don't think it'll start again until like or the next series. I don't think next series will start until like next week, like middle of next week. So, I mean, that's a toss up for me. It's like obviously too, like Kyrie will probably miss the first half of that series. Just to answer your question, I think I would say I think I go with the Nets. Just I mean, KD can put a couple more, one more of these games together like he did last night. That's all they need to really advance. And then hopefully everybody else can kind of get back healthy against the Sixers. And then on the West, I mean, I think I'm Suns. Like I think if Chris Paul can, at least miss like, if he one game, just maybe miss one game at the most. I think they can definitely give Utah a lot of trouble. Utah's I think they're a good team. They like a live by the three, die by the three.
Right.
Like when they're off, it's a wrap. Like
Greatest thing that happened to the Suns are they swept them. That was the greatest thing that they just went and got that over with. They were still in the mid game 6 or 7 right now when this
yeah,
happened to Paul.
yeah.
That's from the eclipse. First,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That Nuggets team ain't no joke.
yeah,
They know how to they be fighting. Like they really be getting to it. Like they don't give up. But yeah, I mean I guess in a way it's kind of like good timing, for Chris Paul to be out. But yeah, I think Utah, like their inconsistency, I think they'd be able to get past the Clippers, but I think like once things get tighter, Mitchell like them shots not gonna keep falling the way he kind of just out there just jacking up. You know what I'm saying? Like ankle still messed up.
Yeah.
I think the Suns, Chris Paul had leadership, Devin Booker getting into it, into his own. They like 9, 10 deep, So I feel like I think they could give Utah a lot of problems. I think they come out like 7. So I think it'll be the Suns and the Nets.
Yeah. Which I think would be good finals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that'd be good to see. I personally think the Nets will play it out, but that'd be good to see Chris Paul, finally break through and get that far.
Yeah.
And that'd be a solid. But with the way the NBA is playing out, we could have a bunch of G League players on the team by then.
Yeah. People dropping like
Long
flies,
few
man.
weeks, long 2 months or
Long month left of the
month
playoffs.
later. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, yeah, that's all we got for tonight. Apologize for a little bit of a little bit of hiatus. Sometimes the 9 to 5 still get into the way here and there. So, but yeah, we'll definitely work to get something to you all a little bit later on this weekend. If not, following week. So we'll talk to y'all soon.
So,
Yeah.